if you give a teacher a gun, they're going to ask you for some bullets. And when you give them the bullets, they'll ask you for proper training. And when they're finished with their training, they'll probably ask you for a classroom. And then they'll want to look into their classroom to make sure they don't perceive a threat. And while looking into their classroom, they'll realize that one of their students is acting out of line. So they'll ask them to straighten up. And when they're finished talking to the student, they'll want to discipline them, to show them they mean business. They know their school has a zero-tolerance policy, that this student is probably just another clog in the school-to-prison pipeline, that this student is prone to violence, that this student's people are prone to violence, that this student probably belongs to some gang or clique, this student probably possesses a weapon, possesses no respect for authority, so they discipline the student. Now, it might be important to note here that students of this demographic are punished more quickly and more harshly than any other student demographic, but when you bring this up to the teacher, they won't want to talk about race. They'll want to talk about protection. How student against teacher violence is a silent crisis that no one is talking about. How Wisconsin recently passed a law protecting teachers from their students and restoring order in the classroom. For this teacher, it's about restoring order, so anything they do to the student, they're simply restoring order, so they threaten the student. They may get carried away and threaten the student with a gun. They may even pull the trigger like bang, but it will be justified. I mean, you gave the teacher a gun. You told them to protect their classroom from what? A threat? What if the student is a threat? What if a student brings a gun to the classroom? What if the teacher perceives the student as a threat? Are you asking teachers to shoot their students? How does a teacher shoot their student? How can you tell a teacher to shoot their student when they're finished? They're probably going to want a little bit of time off. So you'll need to fix them up a little bit of paid leave and release a statement saying their decision was objectively reasonable to make them feel more comfortable, less like George Zimmerman and more like the police. And then they'll ask you to read them a story, so you read them one. About police who neutralized a threat, who feared for their lives, just like them. So they'll ask you to see pictures and you don't show them Tamir or Trayvon. You show them photos of brave men and women who served and protect their people at all costs, just like them. And then they'll want a picture of their own. So they'll ask you for protections and a badge. They'll draw a gun and paint their students of color as targets. And when they're finished with their picture, they'll want to sign their name with a hashtag. They'll want to hang it up on your newsfeed, which means more media coverage, a failed indictment, and forgiveness. And while looking at that photo on your newsfeed, they'll realize that they've made an honest mistake, that they were simply trying to protect their students, that what they need is more training. So then they'll ask you for some bullets, and chances are, if they ask you for some bullets, well, they'll probably want a gun to go with it.